right. So are you ready to dive into these big visa changes coming to Australia in 2025?
Yeah,
I know you're looking ahead.
absolutely.
And from what I've been seeing from Next Step Immigration, it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, it's a big shakeup.
Yeah, they've got like 7 major shifts laid out, and we're going to try to break it all down for you.
Okay.
Whether you're thinking about moving to Oz or maybe you're already there or just fascinated by how countries, handle immigration,
Mm-hmm.
we've got you covered today.
You bet.
So,
It's interesting because these changes,
yeah.
they seem to signal a real shift
Yeah,
in thinking.
that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
It's not just about numbers anymore.
No, it's not.
So, okay, first up, skilled migration.
Right.
They're totally revamping the point system, and it sounds like they're raising the bar
Yeah,
quite a bit.
they really are.
Like, what's going on here?
Well, the old system was kind of, you would rack up points from various categories, but the Department of Home Affairs put out a discussion paper this year, and it really suggests a whole new focus.
Okay.
They're talking about attracting migrants who will be here for the long haul,
Mm-hmm.
People who have qualities that really indicate that they're going to truly integrate.
So it's not just about ticking boxes anymore.
No.
You really need to stand out.
Right.
What kind of qualities are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about like high English proficiency,
Okay.
solid work experience,
Mm-hmm.
that relates to what's in demand and expertise in those critical industries
Okay.
that Australia is trying to boost.
So those in-demand industries.
Yeah, it's all connected to economic strategy.
Right.
It's about making sure that they're attracting talent that fills skill gaps
Yeah.
and helps the country grow.
So if you're thinking about applying for a skilled visa,
Yeah,
it's time to polish up that resume and maybe even
Oh,
hit the
wow.
English language books.
absolutely.
This is a real game changer.
It is.
What about the list of eligible occupations itself? Is that changing too?
That is changing big time.
Really?
Brace yourself for a major shrinking of that list.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about going from 456 occupations down to a much narrower focus, mainly healthcare, engineering, and IT.
Hold on. So those hospitality and administrative jobs that used to be a common pathway,
Yeah,
those might become way harder
they might.
to get through skilled migration.
That's what it looks like.
Wow.
It seems that Australia is really laser focused on innovation and sustainability. So they're prioritizing the industries that are driving those areas forward.
Okay, so if your dream job is suddenly off the list,
Yeah.
what do you do alternative pathways upskilling?
Well, I think staying informed is key,
Okay.
wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
The more you know about these changes, the better you can adapt your plans.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dynamic situation,
Yeah,
and being proactive is going to be crucial.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the temporary skill shortage visa,
Okay.
the TSS. A lot of people use that as a stepping stone to permanent residency.
Yeah.
Is that pathway changing too?
Well, it is evolving.
Okay.
But the good news is that pathway to permanent residency is still there.
Okay, so that's a relief.
They are renaming the TSS visa
Okay.
to the Skills in Demand visa.
Okay.
And if you're on that, you can still transition to permanent residency
Right.
through the subclass 186 employer nomination scheme.
Okay, so the route's not closing up.
No.
It's good.
No.
Are the rules basically the same?
Well, the core requirement is the same.
Okay.
2 years of sponsored employment within a 3-year period.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that it doesn't have to be with the same employer.
Oh.
You can switch jobs as long as you maintain that sponsorship.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it offers some flexibility.
It does. And what about people who already have applications under the old system?
Oh, they'll be assessed under the original guidelines.
Okay.
So whether you're just starting your journey or you're already in the system,
Okay.
there's clarity and continuity.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, now I keep hearing about these stricter financial requirements coming in.
Uh-huh.
What's the deal with that?
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
Financial scrutiny is getting ramped up.
Okay.
We're potentially looking at a 30% increase
30%.
in the proof of funds needed
Wow.
for temporary visa holders.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, it seems that the government wants to make absolutely sure that migrants can support themselves financially
Okay.
without becoming a burden on public resources.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see that you're coming in with a solid foundation.
Makes sense. And I bet this is particularly important for international students
Absolutely.
and working holiday visa holders, right?
Yes, very much so.
Their finances are often a bit tighter.
Absolutely. Meticulous financial planning
Yeah.
and detailed documentation are going to be crucial.
Yeah.
Every bank statement,
Oh, wow.
pay stub,
Okay.
everything needs to be in order.
So if you're in that boat, get organized.
Yep.
No more tossing those bank statements in a drawer.
Absolutely.
Now let's switch gears and talk about regional visas.
Okay.
I hear there's a real push to encourage people to settle outside the major cities.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Regional migration is a big focus.
Okay.
And to make that happen, they're bringing in mandatory settlement periods.
Okay.
So if you get a regional visa, you might be required to live in that area
Wow.
for up to 5 years.
So no more hopping over to Sydney or Melbourne after a year or two.
Well, it really depends.
Okay.
It depends on the specifics of the visa in the region.
This is a commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
They're really trying to incentivize people to make a long-term commitment
Okay.
to regional areas.
I imagine there are pros and cons to that.
There are.
What are some of the potential benefits and challenges you see here?
Well, on the plus side, regional areas often have lower living costs.
Okay.
You know, a tighter-knit community feel,
Right.
and potentially even faster pathways to permanent residency. But of course, you are tied to a specific location for an extended period.
Yeah.
And that might not be for everyone. So you really have to weigh those factors.
So it's not a decision to be made lightly.
No.
You really need to weigh those factors and see if it aligns with your vision for life in Australia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about your career,
Okay.
your family, your overall lifestyle preferences.
Okay, let's circle back to those temporary skilled visas,
Okay.
the ones renamed skills in demand.
Right.
Are there any other changes besides the name we should be aware of?
Yes, definitely.
What is it?
The bar is getting higher in terms of qualifying.
Okay.
Employers will now need to provide really solid evidence
Oh, wow.
that there are 0 local candidates.
So really prove it.
Yeah, they have to prove
Okay.
that there's no one in Australia who could fill this role
Okay.
before they can sponsor someone from overseas.
So that's going to make securing sponsorship
Yeah,
a lot tougher.
it could definitely make things more competitive.
What are the implications of that for potential applicants?
Well, for one thing, it could make it harder to find an employer who's willing to go through that process.
Right.
And on top of that, they're likely to raise the salary threshold for TSS visa holders
Okay, how much are we talking?
by 20%.
20%.
Yeah, the goal is to make sure everyone's being paid fairly
Go.
in line with local standards.
So if you're aiming for this route,
Yeah,
make sure your skills and experience are top-notch
absolutely.
and you're negotiating a good salary.
Yes, very important.
Now for the topic I think everyone's wondering about,
Okay.
visa fees.
Yeah.
What's the news there?
Well, brace yourself.
Oh, no.
They're going up,
Uh-oh.
and not just by a little bit.
Okay.
We're talking a 10 to 20% increase
Wow. Across the board.
across most categories.
Wow, that's a hefty hike.
It is.
So skilled visa applications, which are already over $4,000 Australian.
Could be pushing $5,000.
Yeah, that's going to make a dent in anyone's savings.
It's definitely going to add another layer of financial planning. Yeah. The government says these increases will help manage demand and improve processing infrastructure.
Okay,
But it's a significant cost to consider.
absolutely. And with costs going up,
Yeah.
it makes thorough application preparation
Right.
even more important.
Absolutely. No one wants to have to reapply
Yeah.
and pay those fees again because of a simple mistake.
This has been so insightful,
Yeah.
but I know we've thrown a lot of information your way.
We have.
Maybe we can step back for a second
Okay.
and just
Okay.
summarize what's the key takeaway here for our listeners?
I think the overarching theme is that Australia's visa system
Yeah.
is going through a major transformation.
Okay.
It's becoming much more selective and strategic in its approach.
Okay.
They're clearly focused on attracting people who have the specific skills and qualities
Yeah.
needed to contribute to Australia's long-term success.
So if you're thinking about making Australia your new home,
Yeah.
what should you be considering in light of these changes?
Well, doing your homework is more important than ever.
Mhm.
Understand the new landscape,
Okay.
assess your own skills and goals, and be realistic about your financial situation.
Yeah.
The process is definitely becoming more demanding.
Okay.
But with the right preparation,
Yeah.
it's still possible to achieve your Australian dream.
And stay tuned because in the next part,
Right.
we're going to dive even deeper
Yes, we are.
into these changes and what they might mean for your future.
We'll see you then.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks.
Sounds good. You know, it's fascinating how
Really?
these changes are designed not just to manage immigration,
Right.
but to shape
Yeah.
the fabric of Australian society.
It really does feel like they're saying,
Yeah.
we're open for business, but we're going to be very selective about who we do business with.
Yeah.
And that's where this whole emphasis on regional migration really comes into play, doesn't
It
it?
does. It's a clever way to address several challenges at once.
Okay, I'm curious. What challenges are they trying to solve with this regional focus?
Well, for one thing, Australia, like a lot of developed countries,
Mm-hmm.
is facing an aging population.
Right.
At the same time,
Yeah.
they have a growing need for skilled workers,
Right.
especially in specific sectors.
That makes sense.
So by attracting younger, skilled migrants to these regional areas,
Yeah.
they're tackling both of those issues head on.
Okay, so you're saying it's a potential win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Migrants get new opportunities,
Mm.
the regions get a boost,
Right.
and Australia as a whole benefits from a more balanced
Yeah,
and sustainable population.
precisely.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that regional migration isn't the right fit for everyone.
Right.
You know, it requires careful thought,
Sure.
willingness to adapt
Yeah.
to a potentially different pace of life,
Mm-hmm.
and a certain pioneering spirit.
It's not as simple as packing your bags and heading for the outback.
Oh, it's not.
You need to do your research, understand the specific opportunities and challenges each region has,
Right.
and make sure it truly aligns with your long-term goals.
And that's where resources like Next Step Immigration can be incredibly valuable. You know, they delve into those different regional areas.
Okay.
They highlight the industries that are thriving
Mm-hmm.
and give you a sense of the lifestyle.
So if you're even considering a regional move,
Yeah.
do your homework. First, connect with people who have made that move already, get a real feel for what it's like,
Yeah.
and make an informed decision.
Absolutely. And for those who are dead set on the big city lights,
Yeah.
you know, these changes might make them reconsider their options.
You mean with the tighter competition for skilled visas
Yeah.
and those rising costs, a regional move might start to look more appealing.
Exactly, especially when you factor in those potential benefits we talked about.
Right.
Lower living costs a strong sense of community
Mm-hmm.
and potentially a faster path to permanent residency.
Yeah. It almost sounds like the scales are tipping in favor of regional migration.
I think it's becoming a much more compelling proposition.
Okay.
But ultimately, it all comes down to each individual's circumstances
Right.
and priorities.
Okay, that makes sense.
What's right for one person might not be right for another.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that affects everyone,
Oh, okay.
regardless of where they choose to settle in Australia.
Right.
Those increased visa fees.
Ah, yes. The cost of pursuing the Australian dream is going up.
It's a significant increase, and I imagine it's going to have a real impact on people's decisions.
Yeah, it will.
What do you think the implications are for potential migrants?
Well, without a doubt, these higher fees add another layer of complexity to an already intricate process,
Right.
and it makes careful financial planning even more crucial.
It almost feels like a way to discourage certain types of migrants, doesn't it?
It could be seen that way.
Yeah.
It's certainly a mechanism for managing the sheer volume of applications
Okay.
and prioritizing those who are most likely to succeed and contribute to the Australian economy.
So what's the message here for our listener?
Yeah.
Someone who might be on the fence about applying.
I would say if you're serious about moving to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be prepared to invest not just time and effort,
Yeah.
but a significant amount of money.
And it's not just the application fees themselves, right?
No.
There are also costs associated with relocating, finding a place to live, getting settled.
Absolutely.
It all adds up.
And don't forget those stricter financial requirements we talked about for
Yeah.
temporary visa holders.
Right.
You really need to demonstrate that you can support yourself
Okay.
without needing to rely on public assistance.
It's all about showing that you're coming to Australia to be a contributor,
Exactly.
not to put a strain on the system.
It all ties back to that.
So we've got this combination of higher fees, stricter financial requirements,
Yeah.
and a greater emphasis on very specific skills and industries. It really does point to a much more selective and strategic approach to immigration.
I think it does, and I think it reflects a broader global trend.
Yeah.
You know, countries around the world are being more careful about who they let in.
Okay.
They're placing higher value on skills, talent, and the ability to integrate seamlessly into their society.
You're saying this isn't just an Australia thing?
Exactly.
This is happening everywhere.
It is.
So for those who have their heart set on making Australia their home,
Yeah.
the message is clear.
Be prepared, be strategic, and be willing to invest the time, effort, and resources to make your dream a reality.
It's not impossible,
No.
but it definitely requires more planning and effort than it used to.
Yeah.
You've given us a lot to think about.
Good.
I think our listeners are really starting to grasp the scope of these changes
Yeah.
and what they might mean for them personally.
Good.
Ready to move on to our final part.
Absolutely. Let's explore some of the broader implications of this shift
Okay.
in Australia's immigration policy.
It's really interesting
Yeah.
how these changes force us to rethink
Mm-hmm.
what it even means
Yeah.
to immigrate to Australia.
It's true.
It's not just about filling out paperwork and paying
Ah.
fees anymore.
No.
It's about understanding this bigger picture,
Right.
this long-term vision Australia has
Yeah.
for its future, and seeing how you fit into that.
What I find fascinating is how these changes challenge our assumptions
Right.
about immigration in general.
Okay.
We often think of it as a one-way street,
Mm-hmm.
but these policies highlight the importance of a
Okay.
two-way exchange.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean by a two-way exchange when it comes to immigration?
Well, it's about recognizing that immigration should ideally benefit both the individual
Okay.
and the host country.
Okay.
Australia is essentially saying, we welcome you, but we also expect you to contribute to our society,
Right.
our economy,
Yeah.
and our future.
So it's not just about what Australia can do for you,
Right.
but what you can bring to Australia.
Exactly. And that's where this focus on high-level skills,
Okay.
sought-after talent,
Mm-hmm.
and a demonstrable commitment to staying for the long term comes in.
So you're really showing them
Yeah.
that you're invested.
Yeah. Australia is looking for people who aren't just seeking a change of scenery,
Right.
but who are truly invested
Yeah.
in building a life and contributing to their new home.
It's more like a partnership,
Yeah.
a shared journey
Exactly.
where both sides benefit.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And that's what makes these changes so significant. They're not just tweaking the rules.
Right.
They're redefining the very essence of immigration.
So if you're listening to this
Yeah.
and thinking about making the move to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
what's the key takeaway here? What should you really be focusing on?
I would say more than ever, do your homework.
Okay.
Understand this new landscape we've been discussing.
Mm.
Take a hard look at your skills, your career goals, your financial situation, and be honest with yourself about whether you're truly prepared for this level of commitment.
Okay.
The process is definitely becoming more demanding, but with the right preparation and a clear understanding of what's expected,
Yeah.
it's still possible to achieve that Australian dream.
And don't forget about those valuable resources we mentioned,
Right.
like Next Step Immigration.
Absolutely. They can provide guidance and support every step of the way.
Yeah, because if you're going to shell out,
Yeah.
upwards of $5,000,
Mhm.
you want to make sure
You want to get it right.
you get it right the first time.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Yeah.
Connect with others who have navigated this process.
Yeah.
And stay informed about any updates or changes that come along.
Because we know one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Immigration is a constantly evolving landscape.
And those who are adaptable, resourceful, and determined
Yeah.
will be the ones who thrive in this new era.
Yeah, it's a challenging path.
It is.
But for those who are truly committed, the rewards can be immense.
Absolutely.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into Australia's 2025 visa shakeup.
Okay.
It's been a fascinating exploration, and I hope you feel more informed and empowered to navigate this new terrain.
We encourage you to keep exploring this topic.
Yes,
Stay engaged with the latest developments.
absolutely.
And never lose sight of your goals.
Until next time, happy exploring.